What's good, everybody? It's your boy Marshall Village here, coming at you with another Kengan video. Today we're going to talk about the lore of Kengan Omega and Kengan Ashura. We're going to talk about a lot of backstory. We're going to talk about the relationship between the two Nikos, the Niko style, and the worm. So in my last video, I made a bunch of allusions to a Reddit post I did, and I figure why not just talk about it since I have this platform now. So here it goes. So we want to start out with Tokita Niko referring to a friend that died in the forest during the trial. So it's all based around that the friend he's talking about is the true Niko, or the Tiger Niko, or the real Niko, whatever you want to call him. In my Reddit post, I called him the true Niko, but let's just call him the real Niko or the other Niko, just so we're all clear on who we're talking about, because it's kind of confusing when multiple characters have the same name. So I think that Niko, the real Niko, was the one our Tokita Niko befriended. That would really make for a nice like friend stab in the back kind of dynamic between them. I think that'd be really good for both of their characters. So the real Niko somehow becomes involved with the worm. Maybe he was nervous about the trial coming up, and he looked outside of the Niko style to gain the upper hand. He seems like a pretty slimy guy, so I would imagine he would do something like that. So he becomes involved with the worm, and he shows them the Niko style. Now, here's what I think happened. We know that Kano, Agito, came in contact with this Niko at some point, taught him some version of the Niko style. It was different than what Oma learned, though. Taught him some version of the Niko style. And we can assume, because based around like how Agito looks at the time, that this was either like before the Gu. This was absolutely before the Gu ritual, because I don't think Katahara Metsudo would allow that to happen. You know, it seems like after Agito got saved from the ritual, that he had been in the care of Metsudo ever since then. So I really wouldn't have been a time for the real Niko to teach Agito any Niko style techniques after that, but prior to that, it's fair game. So I think, and it's heavily implied that the worm had something to do with that, giving Agito yet another reason to be wary of any worm activities, because they've been infiltrating and trying to sabotage the Kengan Association, which is directly headed by, not directly anymore in Omega, but which is heavily involved with Katahara Metsudo, and their involvement in the Gu ritual that he was a part of. And yeah, so moving on, I think that this is where the worm became familiar with the Niko style, and the head of the worm saw this as a suitable martial art, and that's why they care about Oma and Ryuki, and you know, that's why they care, and that's why the other two, I can't remember their names. I'll throw them up on the screen if I can. And that's why the other two characters that headed the invasion of the Kengan Annihilation Tournament also were Niko-style practitioners. But, unfortunately, they were killed by Jaiji. So, oh, and the Tiger Vessel. So, moving on, that's how I think the head of the worm, or just the worm in general, became aware of the Niko style. So, head of the worm sees the Niko style, loses his mind. Oh, this is the best martial art ever. I need it. So what I think the worm is doing is experimenting with cloning and implanting consciousness into those clones so he could effectively be immortal. Think like Orochimaru from Naruto. So, we know that there's some beef with the Wu clan, right? Or there is potentially some beef with the Wu clan, right? With this point, I think that the worm developed the advance in order to combat the Wu clan in some way. Now, this doesn't explain why they're working together now, but I think it's a fair point. I think it could lead somewhere. Because we know that the advance was developed in order to fight the Kure family. And I'm not sure Gayo Makaku would make such a technique in order to fight the Kure family. The Kure family didn't really seem to be on Mukaku's radar. He just wanted unification of the inside. So I feel like the worm could have developed the advance in order to settle a long-standing feud with the Kure family in some way. We don't know. This is all speculation. We don't know anything. This has never been stated. I'm just trying to put the pieces together. So, real Niko learns the advance, heads to the trial. Of course, we can assume that it was very similar to what Oma went through with Tokita Niko, except, just a bunch more people. So, out of this, the real Niko takes away Fallen Demon instead of Demon's Bane. Now, the reason I think he took Fallen Demon out of this, so let's say he was using the advance and he was spamming out, right? And let's say that the trial took, what did it take, Oma? 10 days? Let's say it took, let's account for, difference in skill. So let's say it took, a week. Or it could have taken longer, but let's be fair, or let's be safe and lowball, and let's say it took a week. Having the advance on and I'm not saying you had to have it on constantly, but having the advance on, or at least going on and off, had to have really took a toll on the real Niko's body, right? So, in his fatigue, in his stupor, the secret technique that might have activated for him was Fallen Demon. See? So, with that technique, Fallen Demon, and the advance, the real Niko might have just started slaughtering everybody. Now, I think, and again, none of this has been stated, none of this has been even alluded to, but I'm really just grasping at straws here, but I think that there's a real possibility for these things to happen, to have had happened, based on, breadcrumbs that have been left through the story. So I think he presumably kills our Tokita Niko, or at least he thinks that he's killed him as well. Gayo Mokaku has to take this matter into his own hands and presumably kills the real Niko as well. Seeing that all of his students are presumably dead, he leaves the forest, never practices the Niko style again out of grief for his lost students. I would imagine he would see this as a great failure, that the army, the fighting force that he had developed to fight the inside and unify it, or fight the tyranny and the evil and the lawlessness of the inside, was defeated by itself. So I would imagine that took a great toll on him, and he would never want to practice the Niko style ever again. Now, here's the twist, because, Kengan is full of twists. What if the real Niko that died in the forest at the hands of Gayo Mokaku was a clone? Yeah, right, interesting. That would be why when he got reunited with Tokita Niko after he settled down Oma when he was going on his rampage, he said to him, oh, so it was your doing. So, obviously, that Niko has a nefarious streak. He had to have done something in the past for Niko to react that way, right? So, after their battle, and after Tokita Niko takes care of the real Niko, the story continues as it were, but in the background, I also believe that Gayo Mokaku adopted a failed clone, or a failed clone of Oma, or adopted Ryuki and Oma. I believe that I'm starting to think that Ryuki and Oma could be brothers instead of Ryuki being a clone of Oma. Now, I say that, and there has to be a lot of things that have to happen in order for Ryuki and Oma to end up being brothers. But again, Kengan is a story full of punches, kicks, and subversions. So, and the narrative that's been built up is Ryuki is a clone of Oma. So it would be a great subversion of expectations for us to find out that they're actually brothers. That would explain why they look so similar, and even the thematics of their martial arts styles. I'm starting to believe that Ryuki is Oma's younger brother, and it would be funny if the younger brother practiced the older style or the ancestor style to the older brother. That's just me. So, for some reason, Ryuki and Oma are separated. Mukaku adopts Ryuki and teaches him the Geio style and raises him to be a soldier to fight the worm. So, that's my theory, everybody. Like I said, none of these, a lot of these things haven't been stated to us directly. Just putting together some breadcrumbs based on some story bits. Let me know what you guys think. I'll try to have the comments on this time in my last video. I was like, yeah, like, share, subscribe, put everything in the comments. But then the comments were disabled. I don't know how that happened, but, you know, I'm still new to this YouTube-y shtick. So, I'll try to have the comments on this time. Sorry about that. And hopefully we can get a good discussion. Peace, love to everybody. See you in the next one, guys.